Welcome to another episode of the Bandage Podcast, a weekly wrap-up of the most trending healthcare news. Each week, we'll discuss the latest in healthcare, health IT, and compliance.
In this week's episode, we discuss linking weed use to schizophrenia, a new surgery performed to save a fetus, and the improper disposal of documents containing PII. Let's wrap things up. This is episode 185 for the week of May 15th. I'm Matt Moneypenny.
And I'm Albert Battistelli.
Before we get started, our diagnosis code of the week is R46.0, very low level of personal hygiene.
The fact that you couldn't get diagnosed with that.
Yeah, it's not good.
That, like, it might cause a hospital visit. That is pretty sick.
I mean, I guess it could. Lead to a hospital visit. Just because it's not good. I mean, could lead to rashes, could lead to some other diseases, could lead to scabies.
You're right.
So it sounds silly, but it might be real.
I was more thinking like someone has such bad BO that they like knock themselves out. They like are in like they just like take a whiff of it and just like pass out.
That too. That's the more comical version. That's the version that I like better too because it's funny. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen to you. But in the meantime, let's learn about some news.
Yeah.
First up, we have new meaning to hallucinations. Young men who regularly smoke marijuana may have an increased risk of developing schizophrenia, according to a new study. Schizophrenia cases in men ages 21 to 30 could have been prevented by up to 30% persistent use of marijuana, medically coined cannabis use disorder, or CUD. This is according to findings published May 4th in the Journal of Psychological Medicine. The study, based on data from nearly 6 million people in Denmark, ages 16 to 49, concluded 15% of schizophrenia cases in males may be preventable if CUD was avoided. The study concluded the link is more significant with men, but that this may only be because men are more likely to have a CUD.
Interesting.
I didn't know cannabis use disorder existed.
I didn't either.
Wonder if that is a politically driven disorder, and I hope it's not because it sounds like it could be.
But Denmark, that makes me think like they're super chill over there, right? Like they would be like, whatever, man.
Be like, whatever.
Smoke what you want. But
yes, so there is a tobacco use disorder.
Okay.
So it just means cannabis use disorder just means that you're unable to stop using marijuana even though it's causing health and social problems. So it's just another word for addiction, specifically with cannabis, which they say that marijuana is not addictive. So maybe it is in some cases.
I feel like everything can be addictive in some cases.
True. That's
like,
true.
Even if
I'm addicted to working. Yay.
Wow.
Right. I mean, this is a classic case of interesting study, but correlation doesn't always equal causation.
Right. You also look at the source. I'm seeing Fox. Well,
right.
Mm-hmm.
This is a study that's created by Psychological Medicine, but this article that we read from is Fox News, which is right-sided, which is why I brought up the political thing in the first side.
Oh,
so who knows?
Okay. See, I didn't know why you went there, and I was like, okay, now I get it.
Yeah. See.
And it is listed under politics, not health.
But all things being said, marijuana is considered a psychedelic drug.
It is.
So is alcohol, I think.
Yeah.
No, it's a depressant. But I feel like, well, no, you're not hallucinating if you're drinking. So, okay.
I don't know.
All right. Well, what's next?
Next up, surgery triumphs. A team of doctors in Boston performed a groundbreaking surgery on a baby still in the womb, the first of its kind in the U.S. The baby, named Denver Coleman, suffered from vein of Galen malformation, or VOGM, a rare abnormality where blood vessels connect directly to veins rather than capillaries, affecting the blood vessel's ability to carry oxygenated blood from the heart to the brain. The resulting surge of blood pressure can lead to major health issues like congestive heart failure, losing brain tissue, or an enlarged head. Just 2 days after the groundbreaking surgery was a success, Kenyatta Coleman, Denver's mother, went into labor. What's more, she got to go home only a few weeks later, needing no further medications or treatments. Denver is the first of an estimated 20 babies who will undergo this innovative new treatment as part of a clinical trial.
Denver Coleman's a pretty cool name.
I was going to say, that's a name. That's like a football player name.
It's like, my name's Denver Coleman. Denver's a very naturistic focused state, and Coleman's the brand name for a camping gear.
Yeah.
So very cool name.
Even the mom's named Kenyatta, like Kenya. Like, I don't know. It's all
Kenyatta,
very
sweet.
cool.
That's a cool name. Cool operation. I didn't know that you could operate on babies in the womb still. That's kind of crazy. That sounds sci-fi-y.
It does.
Word? It is
no,
now.
It is now.
Sci-fi.
Sci-fi.
You know sci-fi. Whoa. So glad it went well. Definitely sounds risky. Props to Kenyatta for trying to weigh the risk and then believing in her surgeons.
Yeah.
Something like this doesn't always work out, but it seems like it's working. It worked out, so that's huge.
That's great.
Congrats to the doctors. This is definitely groundbreaking, and we'll see what happens after. I didn't know how. I'm not sure how prevalent VOGM is, but
or even other like in utero sort of issues that can be solved with surgery. Like, who knew? Like, this just opens the door to be like, hey, this can happen.
Agreed. And with that, let's go into our next segment.
BREACH, Breach Patrol. It's a breach! All of the latest cybersecurity breaches.
Welcome to Breach Patrol. We talk about the latest breaches all across the world. First up, we got a breach in the making.
Ooh.
A concerned Tucson resident found private medical information behind a dumpster in a medical plaza. The documents contained names, addresses, and other personal details. It had copies of driver's licenses, marriage certificates, travel certificates, and passports. Disposing of these types of records in a dumpster is not allowed according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Wow.
What do you do if you have documents that you need to dispose of in your healthcare facility?
You can pay someone to come take care of them, or you can shred them and then have somebody take care of them.
Right. It needs to be some sort of a business associate that will sign a BAA with you.
Yep.
Usually it's e-waste. They seem like they have some sort of a monopoly. Not e-waste. What is it called? Shred It. Shred It seems like they have some sort of a monopoly over this, or they're just a giant organization.
Right.
But yeah, that's not good.
Don't just throw your crap in a dumpster where anybody can jump in there and get it.
Right. Even though dumpsters say no dumping, and if it's in a corporate campus, hopefully there's some security cameras to try to figure out who this was. But at the end of the day, if someone just comes across this, it's still a breach. So whoops.
Yeah. Yep.
Whoopsies.
Whoops. NextGen is next up. NextGen Healthcare, a U.S.-based provider of electronic health record software, admitted that hackers breached its systems and stole the personal data of more than 1 million patients. In a data breach notification, NextGen Healthcare confirmed that hackers accessed the personal data of 1.05 million patients. In a letter sent to those affected, NextGen Healthcare said that the hackers stole patients' names, dates of birth, addresses, and social security numbers. They said that their investigation revealed no evidence of any access or impact to any of the patient's health or medical records or any health or medical data.
Whoa.
I mean, nice that good that they didn't get health data and medical records, but like still dangerously close. And also they did get some personally identifiable information. So not a good look, NextGen.
Yeah, definitely not a good look. I think, this is an organization that works with medical records. They're not doctors' offices or anything like that. So they're a business associate. Right. They're probably also a covered entity by law. It just kind of depends on how your interpretation of it. But whoops. It just goes to show you. What's crazy is a lot of these patients probably don't even know that NextGen exists.
Nope.
It's just the nature of healthcare sometimes.
EHR, yeah.
And now 1.05 million of them will get some notification as to what happened to their data.
Yep.
Next up, sued for negligence. Supercare Health has agreed to a data breach settlement totaling $2.25 million in a class action lawsuit. The plaintiffs allege the organization's reckless approach to cybersecurity had led to the exposure of personal health information for hundreds of thousands of patients. With 318,379 individuals affected, the Supercare Health breach was one of the most significant healthcare data breaches of 2022 at the time of publication. It exposed highly sensitive data, including first names, last names, dates of birth, social security numbers, and treatment information. Attorneys representing the class members argued that the plaintiff and class members would need to invest time in safeguarding themselves from identity theft and fraud.
Yeah.
Another instance of a class action lawsuit. Every week we're getting a new one. Or
I know.
several.
I'm gonna make like a drinking game out of it.
I think we talked about this the first time. I think the first time we came across one of these, it was, we mentioned that it was probably going to lead to a whole watershed kind of defining moment for these people,
if you will,
for legal organizations, because they're, this is an opportunity for law firms to make a lot of money, and all it takes is one person to win and to prove how to win, and then everyone else is going to follow suit. It's just like anything, right? People just kind of copycat each other all the time. So this is the same instance.
Sure is, and it doesn't seem like it's going away either. So it typically, the pattern is we'll see a breach. A few months later, we're going to see another article about the same breach, but this time including some sort of class action lawsuit. So breach is bad enough, but when you add that class action lawsuit on there, not only are you paying like the fines to the government for the breach and stuff like that, but now you're going to have to pay out to the actual like people that were affected. Protect yourselves, people. All right, finally, going to jail for hackers. The former chief security officer of Uber, Joseph Sullivan of Palo Alto, was sentenced May 5th to serve a 3-year term of probation and ordered to pay a fine of $50,000. Testimony at Sullivan's trial last October revealed that 10 days after his sworn Federal Trade Commission testimony, Sullivan learned that Uber had been hacked again. Furthermore, the hackers had exploited the same vulnerability that led to the 2014 breach. Unlike the 2014 breach, however, the data stolen in 2016 was massive in scale and included records associated with approximately 57 million Uber users and drivers, according to trial testimony. Despite having testified regarding that same security vulnerability and related issues 10 days prior, Sullivan was accused of executing a scheme to prevent any knowledge of the breach from reaching the FTC.
Whoa.
That's just poor management.
Criminal. See what happens? You can deal with criminal penalties for breaches, especially if there's some sort of negligence involved.
Yeah, even if you're not the hacker, even if you didn't do the crime, you still, this person did another crime by trying to cover it up. Like, come on.
I understand. I feel like everyone's knee-jerk reaction, right, and it shouldn't be, but I feel like it might be human nature to try to be like, well, wait, nothing's wrong with what we're doing, especially if you're in charge of something. You're like, whoa. Everything that I've done has been perfect. What do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, that's probably human nature. But with breaches, you got to put that ego aside and be like, okay, these happen.
Yep.
That's why we have the segment, really, is because it happens and it sheds light on it happening. So when it happens to you, you're like, okay, this is, by all accounts, this is normal at this point. So we need to make sure that we take the steps to respond correctly to this incident rather than actually, having the incident and covering it up. So, Oops.
Whoops.
And that's it for this week's wrap up of your weekly healthcare news. I'm Matt Moneypenny.
And I'm Albert Battistelli.
And we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Bandage Podcast produced by eTactics.